So the first card you have for your past is the Two of Swords. Yeah, I'm seeing you feeling a bit bogged down, a bit stressed, a bit worried about a decision that you had to make. Now, I think I'm seeing a lot of stuff coming into you. So there was probably a lot of information coming into you. It's like you were bombarded with information. It's a bit like it's like a combination of you not understanding the information properly and also just feeling really bored with it. It's like when you have a great big boring document and you have to read through it, but you kind of don't want to, but you know you kind of have to. And I think this was the kind of thing that was happening with you. And I think maybe this had a lot of fine print, or it had a lot of legal jargon or something like that was very boring. And I'm seeing your eyes sort of scanning quickly over it, but not really wanting to absorb it because it was so boring. And yeah, you may as well have worn a blindfold like this woman and been asleep underneath the blindfold because you weren't really reading it properly. For one, you didn't really understand it properly, and for another thing, it was just boring. It's like reading a great big manual on something. It's just so boring. So I think in the end what happened was you had to make this decision, and you tried to kind of read all this information to help you with this decision, but it really wasn't happening. So I think what happened was in the end you read some of it, you kind of understood a bit of it, but then you probably just followed your instincts. I'm actually feeling really positive about this decision. Actually, it's not too bad. If this resonates, I think this is going to be okay for you. I think, you just weren't able to absorb all of this information, and you couldn't understand the information. What I'm saying is you couldn't understand this information, but you can understand people. You're a really good judge of people. You're a really good judge of character. And I think there was a person around this. You had a choice between going with one person and going with another person or something like that. And I think you went with a person who you kind of had a trust with. You had a good instinct about this person. You had a good feeling about someone. So I think that's what you went with in the end, more of that. And I think you made a really good choice. I think you made a really good choice around this. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So yeah, the next card you have for your past is, yes, the Three of Swords. Horrible card. So obviously this is about heartbreak, a heartbreaking situation. But you kind of either you'd gotten yourself out of this situation, or you might have still been in a process of getting out of this heartbreaking situation. I'm seeing that you definitely mentally and emotionally removed yourself from this. You might have still been trying to remove yourself physically from that. You might have still been living with someone, or still had things involved with them or something like that. But you removed yourself from them in your head. That's the main thing that I'm seeing. And I think this is probably why you're able to kind of go with your instincts in this decision. I'm seeing in the Two of Swords. I think what I'm seeing is that when you're around this person, in the Three of Swords, this ex or whoever this is, you kind of felt pressure to listen to them. You kind of felt obliged to run every decision by them. And they really hurt you, actually. That's what I'm seeing. But now, after you were kind of getting away from this person, at least in your head anyway, you were able to make your own decisions. And you didn't have to base them on what they thought you should have based them on. You could base them on whatever you wanted, your instincts, which is what happened here, or anything you wanted. You could base your decision on whatever, what sort of clothes they're wearing. It doesn't matter. It was your decision. Well, it does matter, but it was your decision. It wasn't someone else's decision. And I'm just feeling a lot of freedom around this, because this was the freedom for you to finally be able to make your own decision, if that makes sense. And, the other thing I'm seeing in this is that this ex, or the soon-to-be ex, really, really hurt you. I'm seeing there were some very harsh words going on, And I'm seeing some harsh words were said actually on both sides, because I'm looking at these swords and I'm seeing one on one side, one on the other side, one in the middle, and I'm seeing a balanced number of hurt words going backwards and forwards. So it might be that they said something horrible to you, then you said something back, then they said something back, to kind of even things up. And so it was very sad. It was a great big kind of balanced backward and forward thing going on with hurtful words. But I think after that you freed yourself, at least in your mind, or at least you're in the process of freeing yourself from this person. That's what I'm seeing. So the last card you have for your past is the Nine of Pentacles. So this is a beautiful card to have, especially after the Three of Swords. This is very beautiful. There's so much peace around this card. This is about planning for peace and planning for freedom and planning for a peaceful life on your own without this person in the Three of Swords. If you look at this woman, she's in her beautiful garden, this beautiful lush garden. There's birds, there's trees, there's grapes, there's everything around. And she's building up a life of peace and comfort for herself. And this is about being happy in your independence, being happy about yourself, and being happy about being able to make your own decisions by yourself. And new beginnings. This is new beginnings. This is new starts, newness. I always see this in this card because there are true trees on the horizon, and to me they represent, the Garden of Eden. There's the tree of life and there's the tree of knowledge, the two trees there. And so, the Garden of Eden is right at the beginning. So you are right back at the beginning of a whole new life for yourself. You're building up peace for yourself and a fresh start for yourself, a new beginning. So that's really, really positive. The first card you have for your present is Judgment. So this is actually positive as well. I'm seeing positivity in this as well. I'm seeing, again, you're setting yourself free, and you might actually be forgiving this person in the Three of Swords. Now, by forgiving, I don't mean that you necessarily are saying, I forgive everything they've done. You might be, but really what I'm seeing with this is that you're letting it go. You're letting any old hurts go. You're letting any bad things go. And you're really just rising above any of this old conversation, this backwards and forwards thing. And you're just saying, well, what will be, will be. I'm not going to go on with this anymore. I'm not going to go backwards and forwards and talk to them and carry this hurt with me. I'm going to try and let it go, and I'm going to try and rise above this. And so, I think you're probably still in this process of moving forward. And I think this forgiveness, or this attitude of deliberately letting things go, this is going to really help you move a lot faster forward from this. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to kind of click your fingers and you'll be feeling 100% better or through this process, but it's going to help you to move a lot quicker. That's what I'm seeing in that card. It's very positive. The next card you have for your present is the Three of Wands. Yes. Okay, so this is the card of waiting. This can be the card of waiting and hoping. And it can be the card of looking out and seeing what else is around. What options are there for me? What else is out there for me? What do I have my eye on out there? I'm seeing two things in this card. This ex, or this person in the Three of Swords, I think when you're around this person, when you're in a relationship with them, when you're with them, they might have had their eyes on someone else. Now, I'm not seeing an actual full-blown third-party relationship happening. They might not have even been together with anyone, actually, but they had their eyes out on someone. They were looking at someone, they were thinking they'd like to be with them, or they were thinking about it, or they might have just been talking to them, but their eyes and their mind was on someone else. Their interest was on someone else. Now, this is the card of watching and not taking action, so that's why I'm seeing that maybe they didn't take action. And you might not have noticed this. There was so much going on between you, and you were arguing and things were happening, and you were busy with other things in your life as well, that maybe you weren't noticing this was going on, and you had your back to it. This man has his back to us, so you weren't seeing what was happening. What this is showing me is that a definite interest in someone else. Now, I don't think they're with this person right now. I think they were just looking out to see them, and they were interested in them, but they weren't taking action on it. Again, I'm saying the same thing. I know I'm repeating myself. But yes, a third party that they were interested in, they didn't take action on, because there's this, and there's also the Three of Swords, so 3 people. Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing there. The last card you have for your present is the Four of Swords. So yes, you're going to have times when, as you go through this process, you're going to be thinking about looking back on the relationship, thinking about different times you had with them. Now, you didn't all have bad times. They're not a totally bad, terrible person, but obviously you're not with them anymore. You had good times, you had bad times, but I'm seeing you're going to look back and you're going to things are going to start to come out in your head about things that kind of didn't add up to you, if that makes sense. So you're going to be thinking, that didn't add up. Remember when they went there and they said they were there, but they took 3 hours and they said they took 2 hours? Do you remember when they said they'd called that person, but then the other person wasn't there? Remember when this happened and it didn't add up? So you're going to start to see a lot of things that didn't add up. And I think there are a lot of things that they might not have been very honest with you about. Now, I get in trouble, I know, for cross watchers. Listen to these things and they say, oh, that's not fair, I wasn't like that. This isn't about you, it might not be about your situation, cross watchers, okay? So please don't get upset with me. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing in these cards. So, yeah, your mind is going to start revealing a lot of different things to you. Now, I think what's going to happen is you're going to think about these things, and then you're going to just say to yourself, right, mind, I'm not going to indulge in this anymore. It's not pushing me forwards. It's sending me backwards. It's over anyway. There's no point in thinking about what they said, whether this was true, whether it wasn't, whether they were thinking about someone else, all of this kind of stuff. It's over anyway. I have to move forward, and I'm not going to keep on thinking about this anymore. But the one thing that you were thinking about was, I think you kind of realized when you were having this kind of time to yourself and looking over the relationship, and I think you were thinking to yourself, if they were looking at other people, if they had their eyes on someone else, I don't want my eyes on them. And if they don't want their eyes on me, I don't want my eyes on them. Not only do you not want your eyes on them anymore, you don't want your mind on them anymore. And you're going to start to let this go properly now. You're really, really going to start to let this whole thing go. If a thought comes into your head that says, oh yeah, they did that, that was terrible, you're going to just say to yourself, right, yes, it was terrible, whatever. I am determined not to think about this anymore. That's what I'm seeing in that card. And I hope this is what you're really going to be doing. The first card you have for your future is the Ten of Swords. Yes. Yeah, nobody likes this card. And I don't think this is as bad as it looks, actually. You might feel that it is when you're going through this at the time, but it really isn't as bad as it looks. I'm seeing, you might be imagining someone's intentions aren't good, someone else, but they're actually not as bad as you think. I'm not talking about this ex, I'm talking about somebody else. Now, there's somebody else who's going to come and they're going to want to talk to you. This is what I'm seeing. Now, this might be a family member, it might be a parent of this ex, or it might be a sister or a brother or a relative of this ex. It might be a friend, someone around them who you used to see a lot, but you only used to see them because of this ex. But you're obviously not seeing them anymore. You're not around them anymore. Now, I think this person might miss you, actually. They might miss seeing you. They might miss talking to you. I think they might come forward to talk to you. They might ask you a whole lot of questions about the separation, about this, about that, about the ex, about all the thing. You are at the stage where you've been through the Four of Swords. You've been through the Judgment. You've let it go. You've let it go. You do not want to get into a conversation about it. You don't want to talk about this ex. You don't want to rake up everything again. And maybe even seeing this person, because they're a link between you and your ex. You might not even want to see them again. This isn't this person's fault. It's just that you just completely want to not think about them at this time. And they're going to want to ask you, they're going to want to talk about it, all of that stuff. They might be calling you, they might be texting you, they might want to meet with you. And you're just going to have to be gentle with them, because I don't think, they don't mean to make you feel bad. They don't mean to drag this all up. But you might have to say something like this. You might have to say something to them like, oh, I know you mean well. I know you want to see me, and I'm happy that you do. I thank you for thinking of me. I'm really trying to move on through the situation, and I would like to talk to you at some time, but right now things are still quite raw. They're still quite difficult for me, and I'm trying to move on, and I really don't want to talk about them. I don't want to have any conversations about this person, and I just need a little bit of space for myself to get myself through this. So if you don't mind, I might talk to you at some time in the future, but right now I just need some time to myself, and I really hope you understand that. You might just have to be straightforward and tell them that. Now, if they don't understand that, you, of course, be kind, be polite, because they don't mean anything by it, but be very firm, because you need to think about your own mental health. You need to think about your own process and getting yourself through this process. That's what I'm seeing in that card. That's what I'm seeing. The next card you have for your future is the Page of Pentacles. So this is a really nice card for you, and I think this is exactly what you're going to need, because this card to me speaks about freshness, newness, springtime. The page is young, he's learning, he's looking up to what he wants to learn. I'm seeing that, okay, this might sound strange, it might not resonate with everyone, it might just resonate with a few people. I'm seeing you have some kind of a very special talent, and this might be a spiritual talent, actually. You might have a talent around spirituality, or some kind of thing that you want to explore through your spirituality. This is reminding you to take these gifts, develop these gifts, also protect these gifts. And this place of peace that you're coming to in the Judgment card might have been leading you back toward the spiritual side of yourself, maybe. And there's a lot of growth in this card as well. This page wants to learn, he wants to grow. I'm also seeing protection in this card, because this page is holding this coin very gently. He wants to protect what he has. You want to protect your spirituality. Now, you don't want any harm to come to that. You're kind of trying to nurture that all again. That's what I'm seeing. It's very, very beautiful. Now, there are many, many spiritual paths you can go on. Take your time to find the right one. And if you don't want to follow anyone else's path, really think about following your own unique path. I think that sometimes, there's nothing wrong with any different spiritual path, any religious path. Anything anyone wants to follow is absolutely fine, as long as they're not harming anyone else. I don't mind. But I think sometimes you really need to find your own unique path. It might mean that you agree with these things to this part, with this group over here, but maybe not everything. Maybe you agree with some things here, maybe not everything. Maybe you're still learning a lot yourself, and that's what this card can be about. But this is about, follow your own unique path, follow your own unique process. I'm just seeing that really strongly in this card, and I'm seeing that as something I need to remind you about. There might be some people who, you might be searching for things, and there might be people who insist that you join their group or follow this or do this. Just be a little bit careful about that. There's nothing wrong with those people, probably. I don't know them, but while you're nurturing yourself, while you're looking for your path, while you're searching, don't jump too quickly into things. Really kind of take some time to develop your own uniqueness in that. I hope that makes sense to you. So the last card you have for your future is, yes, the Nine of Swords. Again, this is about taking time, find yourself spiritually, nurture yourself, take care of yourself. Don't just take care of your spiritual side, take care of all of yourself, every part of yourself. You're still going to be going through this process. And again, this is following on from the Ten of Swords. You need to take care of your mental health. There are going to be times where you're going to fall back into your old thoughts, into your old ways, thinking about this ex, being sad again. Yes, it's not all going to be perfect. You're not going to, ascend up into the heavens like this Judgment card and everything's going to be perfect. Sometimes this path can be a little bit like a roller coaster. But when you go through these bad times, just remember that this can take time. Don't be mad at yourself for not being over this yet. Don't be mad at yourself or upset with yourself for not being completely better again. If you look at the quilt on this card, you can't see it, I'll just move it so you can see. There's a quilt on this card, and it has all of the signs of the zodiac on this card. Now, to me, that talks about a whole year. A whole year. Every sign of the zodiac, every sign is, makes up 1 month, and this quilt makes up the whole year. It's all pieced together to make a whole year. Now, I'm not saying it's going to take you a year to get over this. It may do, it may not, but this is telling me it's going to take you some time. And if you do get upset, don't be hard on yourself. Just say to yourself, it takes time. It takes time. I'm going through a slump. I'll get out of this and things will be fine again. There might even be more slumps in the future. I can manage them. I know they're not going to last forever. This just takes time. So just keep on reassuring yourself if you go back into that kind of slump again, if you feel upset and bad again. That's what I'm seeing with that